The red ribbon. For the past few days, Uncle Oot had been in low spirits. His heart kept brooding over the stolen chickens, the whole brood gone from the co-op. Strangely enough, the chicken coop was placed right next to his bedroom, where his bedridden younger brother lay, and yet the chickens vanished. They were gone so quietly, as if nothing had ever happened. Not a sound, not a squawk. Even Lou, the sharp-eared dog, didn't bark a single time. The more Uncle Oot thought, the more his chest tightened with anger. Was his fate cursed, as though his house had been built under the sign of lost livestock? That he hadn't had chicken for Ted in years? It had been a long time since his parents passed away, leaving behind his half-dead, half-alive younger brother. Since then, Uncle Oot had never again tasted meat. Sometimes foxes snuck in, devouring all the chickens, leaving behind only a handful of bloodstained feathers scattered in the co-op. Sometimes those cunning foxes even dragged the bloody feathers right to the foot of his and his brother's bed. Other times, thieves slipped in when he was out in the fields, snatching away the chickens, that useless younger brother of his. Day and night he only rolled his eyes, flashing a crooked grin, never uttering a word. If only he could speak, perhaps the foxes would fear human voices and never dare come near. If only he could walk, perhaps the thieves would have been scared off at the sound of footsteps. And yet, the thefts even happened in broad daylight. Still, Uncle Oot couldn't bring himself to blame him. If blame must be placed, then blame the heavens for birthing such a broken creature. What good were arms and legs if he couldn't use them to eat, drink, or care for himself? Long ago, when the Western-trained doctor, a friend of the village chief, examined the boy, he had said something about brain degeneration, or paralysis, words beyond the understanding of a poor tenant farmer like Oot. His family had been tenants for generations. How could he possibly grasp such lofty knowledge of learned men? Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis. Uncle Oot slowly resigned himself, working with bamboo to patch his house, chasing away hunger with fish from the fields, tending both his life and his brother's. Yet the strangeness in the house grew. Night after night, he began seeing a red ribbon floating in the darkness. At first faint, fluttering like silk in the wind, then vanishing as soon as he opened his eyes. He dismissed it as dreams, the tricks of half-sleep. But one drunken night, he woke to something soft and wet caressing his cheek. Thinking it was Lou the dog, he opened his eyes, only to see that same red ribbon, swaying and stroking his face. It was no cloth, no dream, it was alive. The ribbon danced, twisting, teasing him like a child's game. Then it vanished in a blink, retreating toward the bed where his younger brother lay, staring at him with eyes glowing green, flickering with fiery red pupils. Horrified, Uncle Oot shouted, "Bay, what are you doing?" The boy's eyes dimmed at once, his mouth drooping back into its usual twisted, idiot grin. But there was something strange, something in his face that looked like regret, like a child robbed of its toy. From then on, Uncle Oot could no longer sleep peacefully. He confided his fears to old Uncle Tam, his elder cousin in the next village. The old man listened quietly, and finally said, "If you want to know the truth, you must spy on him. See what he does when you're not home." That night, in the pouring rain, Uncle Oot returned suddenly from the fields. Lightning split the sky as he reached the chicken coop. There, in the flash of light, he saw it again, the red ribbon, longer than ever, glowing blood red, flailing in the storm. It darted into the house, and when Oot ran in, he saw his brother lying there, mouth smeared faintly with blood. It was no fox that killed the chickens. It was the ribbon. It was his brother. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis. Days later, when villagers brought him pork, Uncle Oot left the meat hanging by the hearth. Quietly, he returned early, creeping into the kitchen. There, under the starlight pouring through the thatched roof, he saw the truth. The red ribbon wasn't cloth at all. It was a tongue, a monstrous, grotesque tongue, meters long, covered with twitching taste buds. It writhed and coiled, licking and tearing at the meat with wet, sucking noises. Each lap shrank the hunk of flesh before Oot's horrified eyes. It was Bay's tongue. Rage and terror exploded inside him. He lunged, grabbing the slimy organ with both hands. smearing it with hot ash from the cooking fire. The tongue thrashed violently, dragging him across the floor, pulling him into the bedroom. On the bed, Bay convulsed, eyes rolling, limbs flailing like a demon possessed. His mouth stretched wide, revealing the impossible length of that monstrous tongue, now coiling around Oot's neck, squeezing, smearing saliva across his face. Desperate, choking, Uncle Oot seized the machete by the bed and swung. That night, the neighbors heard drums and gongs. Thinking there was a fire to put out, they rushed to find Uncle Oot's house engulfed in flames, the blaze devouring everything. When the fire died, nothing remained but ash, a broken bowl, and a scorched machete. No bodies were ever found. To this day, no one knows what truly happened to Uncle Oot and his brother. Some whisper of foxes, others of evil spirits. Only one man, old Uncle Tam, kept silent. He never spoke a word. Not because he knew nothing, on the contrary, because he knew too much.